They try to identify the god Hinit. Nice selection. Agni is the correct and valid answer. The use of technology has truly revolutionized the agriculture. Good job. Your answer, Iron, works well here.
When the dead body was buried with gold beads, it means that the dead man was fill in the blank with suitable word chosen from the following. On track. Rich man is the correct answer.
This is a page of the manuscript of which Veda? Well reasoned. Rigveda is the correct choice. Q for I, god of fire dash. E for warrior god dash. E for plant from which a special drink was prepared dash. Fill the 3 blanks accordingly. Excellent choice. Agni Indra Soma is the right answer. Where is this place situated? In Amgon. Good thinking. Maharashtra is the right answer. In Dash, a skeleton was buried with 33 gold beads, 2 stone beads, and 1 conch shell, whereas other skeleton only had a pot. Right again. Brahmagiri is a valid answer. Identity the following. Correct. Megalith is the right answer.
2 words were used to describe the people or the community as a whole. One was the word jana, the other was dash.
Solid response. Coming is a valid choice. Sometimes, the people who composed the hymns described themselves as Aryas. Who were the opponents of Arya? You got it. Your choice, Daces, is right. In Imangon, a man was found buried in a large legged clay jar in a legged position.
Exactly. 4. Cross makes sense and it is right choice.
Upanishads were composed by the people who meditated in the forest discussing special rituals.
Well done. False is the right choice.
The Rigveda is in Old Vedic Sanskrit, which is different from the Sanskrit we study today. Excellent. True is a brilliant choice. State true or false. Chariot is a 2-wheeled vehicle drawn by horses in ancient times. Perfect. True is the correct choice. Which were the 2 words used to describe the people or the community as a whole? Nicely done. Go and poison is a solid answer. The tribes which migrated to India in search of fresh pastures for their cattle. Correct response. Indo-Aryans is the most accurate answer. What our main source of information about the Aryans is derived from the Vedas. Smart pick. True is the correct choice. According to the chapter, Vishvamitra was having a conversation with whom?
Great job. Rivers is the accurate answer. The Rigveda was written for the first time by hand about 3,500 years ago. Strong choice. False is the right answer.
Which of the following is not the earliest cities in the subcontinents? Bravo. Moth is the answer. Where was the head of the dead laid at the burials found at Inamgon? Right choice. North is the best answer. State true or false. A hymn is a religious song to the praise of God.
Nice work. You chose true and it is correct.
The Rigveda is the oldest Veda. It was composed about years ago. Valid point. 3,500 years ago is true. The head of the adults was laid in which direction up being buried? You chose north, and it is correct.
Some of the hymns were in Rigveda, are in the form of dialogues. Dash.
Sharp thinking. True is the right choice. According to the Karaka, how many bones are there in a human body? Well picked. 360 is the correct answer. How many years ago the manuscript of Rigveda was found in Kashmir? You're right. 150 years ago is the correct answer. Kufa Telugu, Tamil, Kannada and Malayalam belong to the Dash family. Clear logic. Your choice Dravidian is sound and 100% true. The practice of erecting megaliths began about how many years ago? Smart move. 3,000 years ago is an accurate answer. Inamgan is situated on the river Gud, which is tributary of Dash. Great thinking. Bhima is the right choice. True or false? Those who performed rituals were called Brahmins. Excellent. True is a brilliant choice. Sanskrit is part of a family of languages, which is known as Dash. You're right. Indo-European is the correct answer. In early Vedic period, which trade men had high status in society? Great thinking. Chariot makers is the right choice. Dash is a part of a family of languages known as Indo-European. Great job. Sanskrit is the accurate answer. Which of the following was not a currency during the Vedic age? Good job. Your answer, rupees, works well here. The Harappans also made seals out of stone. These are generally. Solid response. Rectangular is a valid choice. Stone circles or boulders on the surface were used to cover the. Right again. Burial places is a valid answer. A special burial ground in Inamgan is situated near River Dash. Bravo. Horse is the answer. The Rigveda contains prayers for cattle, children, and horses. Exactly. True makes sense, and it is right choice. What was the name of the pots that were buried with the dead? Excellent choice. Black and red ware is the right answer. The people who composed the hymns described themselves as Dash. Perfect. RES is the correct choice. What are the massive stones arranged to mark burial are called? Nice selection. Megaliths is the correct and valid answer. These stone boulders are known as megaliths, which means dash. Nice work. You chose big stones and it is correct. The Rigveda includes more than 1,000 hymns called dash. Well done, Sukta. Well said. Is the right choice. Battles were fought for land, water, and to capture people. Correct. True is the right answer. Which of these was not a category of people in the society? Strong choice. Shudra is the right answer. What is the name of the bones on which writings were done? Smart move. Oracle bone is an accurate answer. Charaka was a physician who wrote the book Charak Samhita. You got it? Your choice true is right. The eldest male of the family, who was the head, was called. Sharp thinking. Grihapati is the right choice. Q2, which of the following is the oldest among all Vedas? You chose Rig Veda, And it is correct. By what name is the Indus Valley Civilization now called? Correct response. Harappan civilization is the most accurate answer.
Some of the hymns in the Rig Veda are in the form of dash.
Good thinking. Dialogues is the right answer.
Village in Karnataka where people only speak Sanskrit.
Smart pick. Matt is the correct choice. In early Vedic period, the head of the tribe was called.
Well reasoned. Rajan is the correct choice.
The two groups of people based on their work are dash.
Right choice. Brahmins and Rajas is the best answer.
Dash is the assembly of selected people of the tribe.
Well picked.
Sabah is the correct answer.
Which of the two rivers are studied in the Rig Veda?
Nicely done. Bees and Sutlej is a solid answer.
According to Karaka, how many bones did humans have? On track, 360 is the correct answer. Q9, the practice of megaliths began dash years ago.
Clear logic. Your choice 3,000 years ago is sound and 100% true.
Some wealth was used for the performance of yajnas. Valid point. True is true. Name the two rivers with whom Vishwamitra spoke.
Smart pick. Bees and Sutlej is the correct choice.
Sons automatically succeeded fathers as Rajas. Excellent. False is a brilliant choice. What is the meaning of Desa? Clear logic. Your choice slave is sound and 100% true. The manuscript of the Rig Veda was found in dash. Well reasoned. Kashmir is the correct choice. The hymns in the Rig Veda were composed by dash. Bravo. Sages is the answer. Cities such as Calibangan and Lothal had found. Good job. Your answer fire altars works well here. Which family of languages does Tamil belong to? Good thinking. Dravidian is the right answer.
Vishwamitra is comparing the rivers with what?
On track. All of these is the correct answer. Who is the god of fire according to Rig Veda? You're right. Agni is the correct answer. Who composed the hymns present in the Rig Veda? Solid response. Sages is a valid choice. The book Karaka Samhita is related to dash. Smart move. Medicine is an accurate answer. Languages of Northeast are from dash family.
Great thinking. Tibeto-Burman family is the right choice.
When did the Indo-Aryans settle in India?
Around 1500 BC is the right answer.
Which two rivers did Vishwamitra converse with?
Right choice. Bees and Sutlej is the best answer.
Q8 Rig Veda was composed in the Dash region.
Perfect. Northwest is the correct choice.
In which language is the Rig Veda written in?
Nicely done. Vedic Sanskrit is a solid answer.
Poor people's skeleton was buried with dash. Well done. Pots is the right choice.
Which of the following is the oldest Veda?
Correct response. Rig Veda is the most accurate answer.
The Vedic people are generally referred as.
Great job. Aryans is the accurate answer. Who discovered the cities of Mohenjo-Daro? Valid point. R.D. Banerjee is true. How many years ago Rigveda was composed?
Excellent choice. 3,500 years ago is the right answer.
Who were the priests in the ancient time? You chose Brahmins, and it is correct. The hymns in the Rigveda are known as dash. Strong choice. Sai is the right answer. Prayers in Rigveda mostly were for sons. You got it. Your choice true is right. The evidence of which fruits were found. Right again. Amla, Jamun is a valid answer. In those days there was a rich and poor.
Nice selection. True is the correct and valid answer.
Which is the specially mentioned plant? Nice work. You chose Soma, and it is correct. The thousands of hymns were called dash. Well picked. Sukta or well said is the correct answer.
Which of these are not Indian language? Exactly. German makes sense and it is right choice.
On which bark was the Rigveda written? Sharp thinking. Birch bark is the right choice. What the Aryas call their opponents as? Exactly. Dasa and Tai makes sense, and it is right choice.
Q3 Rigveda is composed dash years ago.
Good thinking. 3,500 is the right answer. Which of the following is not a Vedas? Right again. Saraswati is a valid answer. Inamgon is located on the river Dash. Smart pick. Hors is the correct choice. The hymns were composed by the Dash. Excellent. Sages is a brilliant choice.
Inamgan is located near which river?
On track. Hors is the correct answer. The Goda is a tributary of the Dash. Right choice. Narmada is the best answer. Early Vedic period is also known as great thinking. Rigvedic period is the right choice.
How many types of Vedas are there?
Smart move. 4 is an accurate answer.
What is the language of the Vedas?
Solid response. Sanskrit is a valid choice. Brahmagiri is a site in Modem Dash. Nice work. You chose Andhra Pradesh and it is correct. Some places were for some family. Strong choice. True is the right answer. Inamgon is situated on the river. Correct response. Bhima is the most accurate answer.
Q7 most women took part in wars.
Valid point. False is true. Where is the river Gud located? Well picked. Inaman is the correct answer. Who were the opponents of Arias? Well reasoned. Dusk is the correct choice. When was the Rigveda composed? Good job. Your answer 3,500 years ago works well here. In what family is Sanskrit in? Great job. Indo-European is the accurate answer.
Where is birch bark found? In.
Nicely done. Kashmir is a solid answer. Were hymns composed by women? Excellent choice. Yes, a few is the right answer.
What is the meaning of Sakta?
You got it. Your choice, well said, is right.
When was the Rig Veda written? Perfect. About 3,500 years ago is the correct choice. There were many prayers for.
You chose all of these. And it is correct.
Which Veda was the oldest?
Sharp thinking. Rig Veda is the right choice.
The hymns were composed by.
Nice selection. Rishis is the correct and valid answer. The word Vaishya comes from.
Bravo. Vish is the answer. Which was the oldest Veda?
Correct. Rig Veda is the right answer.
Rig Veda is dash years old. Clear logic. Your choice 3,500 years old is sound and 100% true. God Indra is known as dash.
You're right. A warrior god is the correct answer.
Meter is in which languages?
Well done. Sanskrit is the right choice.
How many Vedas are there? Bravo. 4 is the answer. Soma was the warrior god. Well reasoned. False is the correct choice. Who is the warrior god?
Great job. Indra is the accurate answer.
And dash means well said.
On track. Sai is the correct answer.
Who is the god of fire? Nice selection. Agni is the correct and valid answer. Name the god of fire.
Correct response. Agni is the most accurate answer.
There are how many Vedas?
You chose 4, and it is correct.
What are megaliths?
Good job. Your answer, big stone boulders, works well here.
What did Sakta mean?
Great thinking. Well said is the right choice.
What is Soma? Excellent choice. A special plant is the right answer.
How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format? Strong choice. Contact Narayan Changda on Facebook is the right answer.